So finally, just spend a little time talking about disease mitigation and lifestyle factors in terms of Parkinson's disease. One of the things I definitely want to mention here is that there is currently no treatment for Parkinson's disease. The symptoms, particularly the motor symptoms, can be treated for some time. However, after people have been on medication for a long time, that also seems to not be quite as effective. And so anything that is done is a symptom treatment. So the biggest thing or the biggest effect that they found for people with sort of early stage Parkinson's disease and even later stage Parkinson's disease is exercise. Exercise seems to have a tremendous effect on helping people to deal better with the disease and just maintain some of their motor skills and help to deal with some of the rigidity and the shakiness, the stop-start aspects of Parkinson's that are, again, common to the motor symptoms. So why is this? There's not a lot out there in terms of exactly the mechanisms that are going on, but I think most of them really follow along with other studies that have been done on exercise just in the general population. Exercise seems to increase neuron sensitivity. That means that the neurons that are left are going to be more sensitive to dopamine. Um, Exercise also reduced the loss of dopaminergic neurons. This was actually found in animal studies and has been shown to improve balance and coordination. And finally, repetitive generation of large forces tends to also increase neuron activation. So there's a number of things around neuron sensitivity and neuron activation that exercise seems to help. It just means that the neurons that are left are going to be performing a bit better. The other thing that exercise does, and again, this is a well-known fact, is that it increases anti-inflammatory cytokines. So if there's an issue going on with the inflammatory response and reactive oxygen species, exercise can really help to clear that out. And so what I've just shown here is all of these things as a result of exercise primarily lead to reduced oxidative stress in both the brain and just the whole body, and also an increased neuroplasticity. So, the neurons that are there, you can still create different synapses. And the idea is that you just want to make those neurons a little bit more effective. And so for a lot of these exercises, they've found that, combining something where you have to think while you're exercising, or you have to follow someone, so perhaps doing aerobics and you're listening to cues and you have to follow through with those cues, or you have to maybe count or do some different motions with weights. So you're not just doing a repetitive motion, but you're changing that motion, can really have a big impact again on those with early onset Parkinson's, and they also see improvements in those with later onset Parkinson's disease. And finally, just a brief mention of lifestyle factors. They really relate back to what we just talked about with exercise. Um, Most of this work has been done on animals, particularly mice. And one study in particular has found that exercise, restricting calories, so basically not eating too much, and also intermittent fasting all seem to have a really positive effect on Parkinson's disease, and in multiple ways. So in these animal models, the animals are actually given a toxin that destroys the first complement protein in the electron transport chain. And what they found is that mice who were given this toxin and then were allowed to exercise, or voluntarily exercise, as they say, they found that the dopamine producing neurons really were less affected by the toxin than mice that didn't exercise. And so it really suggests that, again, there's just a really strong connection between exercise and what's happening with the neurons and the health of the neurons in the brain and the entire body. The same sort of experiments have been done with caloric restriction, less food, more food. What happens after a mouse has been given this toxin and is put through these different criteria or different variables to see what happens. And in all of these cases, they've really found that these lifestyle factors can have a pretty tremendous effect, reducing oxidative damage, protecting the brain, reducing inflammation, improving the function of the mitochondria, improved bioenergetics. And this, also means you're going to have improved ATP function. And so that's, a really big piece of the Parkinson's story, I think, is that yes, these measures in terms of exercise and eating well can be implemented when somebody is diagnosed, but if they're implemented many years earlier as a part of a healthy lifestyle, um, folks may not actually be seeing Parkinson's at all, or if they do see it, the symptoms would be a lot less um, severe. This is an active area of research, and there's been a tremendous amount of information that's been found just in the last few years. So it'll be interesting to see where this work goes in the near future.